take a deep breath, and let's hear a story about Molly, the curious bunny who found a magic golden seed that only blooms when shared joy touches it. In the soft emerald valley of whispering meadows, nestled between rolling hills and gentle streams, lived a small bunny named Molly. Her fur was the color of warm honey, her eyes sparkled like morning dew on blueberries, and her heart was as vast as the summer sky. Every morning she would wiggle her pink nose and feel the cool, dewy grass beneath her paws, grateful for another day of adventures and discoveries. Molly's burrow was a cozy haven tucked beneath the roots of an ancient oak tree that told stories through the rustling of its leaves. Inside she had lined her home with the softest moss and fragrant wildflowers that filled the air with sweet, calming scents. At night, fireflies would dance outside her window, their gentle glow creating patterns that lulled her into peaceful dreams. The village where Molly lived was home to many woodland creatures: Oliver the wise owl with feathers like velvet clouds, Sophie the hedgehog whose quills sparkled in the sunlight, and Finn the fox with his bushy tail that swished like a paintbrush dipped in sunset colors. Each morning they would gather by the crystal-clear brook, where water babbled secrets only they could understand. There was something special about whispering meadows that visitors often remarked upon. The flowers seemed to hum gentle melodies when the breeze passed through their petals, and the wind carried whispers of ancient woodland tales. Molly would often sit quietly, her ears slightly twitching, absorbing the soothing symphony of nature that enveloped her like a soft, warm blanket. In her heart, Molly carried a deep appreciation for the little wonders of life, the way sunlight filtered through leaves, creating patterns of gold and shadow, the sweet taste of morning dew on wild berries, or the comforting scent of earth after a gentle rain. She collected these moments like precious gems, storing them in her memory to revisit during quiet evenings when stars began to flicker like distant lanterns in the indigo sky. One misty morning, as pearl-like dewdrops clung to spider webs creating delicate natural mandalas, Molly ventured deeper into the forest than she ever had before. The moss beneath her paws felt like nature's plushest carpet, springing gently with each hop, while the air carried the earthy, rich perfume of mushrooms and pine that filled her lungs with freshness. The forest canopy above created a dappled light show that danced across Molly's path, guiding her forward like nature's own lanterns. Birds sang in harmonious melodies that seemed to welcome her deeper into the heart of the woods, while butterflies with wings painted in watercolor hues fluttered around her like living confetti in the gentle morning light. As she rounded an ancient fallen log covered in velvety moss and tiny star-shaped flowers, Molly discovered a small clearing bathed in golden sunlight. In its center grew a cluster of unusual flowers with petals that seemed to be woven from moonbeams and stems as strong yet flexible as willows in the wind. Their fragrance was unlike anything she had ever experienced, a blend of vanilla, honey, and something indescribably magical. Approaching cautiously, her heart beating a gentle rhythm of excitement, Molly noticed something gleaming among the lunar flowers. There, nestled in a cushion of silver-green moss, lay a seed unlike any other, golden as the harvest moon, slightly luminous, and emanating a warmth that Molly could feel even before her paws touched it. It seemed to pulse with a heartbeat of its own, as if it contained life waiting to emerge. A whisper soft as the caress of butterfly wings floated through the clearing. This seed only blossoms when nurtured by genuine joy shared from heart to heart. The voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, carried on the gentle forest breeze like wind chimes in the distance. Molly's ears twitched with wonder as she carefully cradled the golden seed between her paws, feeling it hum with possibility. The seed felt surprisingly light, as if it might float away on the slightest breath, yet it radiated a comforting warmth that spread up through Molly's paws and into her chest, creating a gentle glow of contentment. As she held it, she felt a curious connection forming, not just to the seed, but to everything around her. The trees seemed to lean in slightly, flowers turned their faces toward her, and the very air grew still with anticipation. Carefully wrapping the golden seed in a soft maple leaf, Molly tucked it safely in her small pouch, woven from dandelion fluff, and began her journey home. The forest seemed different now, colors more vibrant, sounds more melodious, scents more intoxicating, as if the world itself was celebrating her discovery. With each hop homeward, Molly felt her purpose growing clearer, like stars emerging one by one as twilight deepens into night. When she returned to the village, the afternoon sun was painting the meadows with honey gold light, creating long, soft shadows that stretched like cats awakening from naps. Fireflies had begun their evening dance, rising from the grasses like tiny lanterns freed from Earth's embrace, while crickets tuned their legs for the evening's gentle symphony. Molly knew in her heart that this golden seed would change everything, not in loud, dramatic ways, but in the quiet, profound manner of moonlight transforming a familiar landscape. That night, as stars sprinkled the velvet sky like diamond dust on dark fabric, Molly placed the golden seed on her windowsill, where moonlight could bathe it in silver glow. She whispered to it stories of kindness she had witnessed in the meadow, how Oliver the owl taught young birds to navigate by stars, how Sophie the hedgehog shared her carefully collected berries with hungry travelers. As she spoke, the seed seemed to absorb her words, glowing slightly brighter with each tale of compassion. Dreams carried Molly to a place where flowers spoke in clear voices and trees walked on root feet across rolling hills. In this dream, the golden seed had grown into a magnificent tree with branches reaching toward distant galaxies and roots connecting to every heart in the forest. Its leaves were made of light, and each time a creature performed an act of kindness, new leaves unfurled like tiny suns. Molly awoke with the dawn, her heart filled with purpose and her mind clear with understanding of what she must do. Morning arrived wrapped in misty tendrils that caressed the meadow like gentle fingers, while birdsong pierced the silence with liquid notes of joy that seemed to make the dew sparkle more brightly. Molly carefully placed the golden seed in her pouch again and set out with determination, warming her heart like the first sip of chamomile tea on a chilly evening. The weight of the seed against her side felt like a whispered promise, a secret shared between friends under starlight. Her first visit was to old Mrs. Tortoise, whose shell bore the patterns of centuries lived slowly and mindfully. The elderly tortoise's home was a haven of peace. Wind chimes made from polished river stones sang soft melodies in the breeze, while lavender and mint grew in abundance, releasing their soothing fragrances with each gentle movement of air. Mrs. Tortoise's eyes, though clouded with age, still held the wisdom of countless seasons, witnessed with patient observation. My garden needs tending, but these old limbs move like trees in winter, slowly and with great consideration, Mrs. Tortoise said, her voice like pages of ancient books being turned with reverence. Molly felt the golden seed grow warmer in her pouch as she replied, "I would be honored to help you, Mrs. Tortoise." For hours, Molly's paws worked the soil, which felt cool and alive between her fingers, rich with possibilities and stories of seasons past. As she worked, Molly told Mrs. Tortoise about the flowers in the forest, describing their colors in such vivid detail that the old tortoise sighed with pleasure, her wrinkled face relaxing into a smile that transformed her features like sunshine breaking through storm clouds. Together they laughed about Molly's misadventure with a grumpy badger, the sound of their joy rising like bubbles in a sun-warmed stream, floating upward to join the clouds that drifted lazily across the endless blue canvas above. When the garden was tended and the last seed planted in soil enriched with care and conversation, Mrs. Tortoise presented Molly with a small jar of honey collected from wildflowers that grew only in ancient places. "Sweetness given returns as sweetness received," she said, pressing the jar into Molly's paws with hands that had held the beauty and burden of countless years. As Molly accepted this gift, she noticed the golden seed in her pouch glowing more brightly, radiating warmth that spread through her entire being like the first light of dawn. The following day, Molly visited Finn, the fox, who was usually so proud and self-sufficient, but now lay in his den with a thorn deeply embedded in his paw. Pain had etched lines around his amber eyes, normally so sharp and alert, but now clouded with discomfort that came in waves like a restless tide. The usually immaculate den was disheveled, evidence of his unsuccessful attempts to remove the painful intruder from his tender pad. With gentle words that floated through the air like dandelion seeds on a summer breeze, Molly convinced the stubborn fox to let her help. Her small paws worked with surprising dexterity, carefully manipulating the thorn while humming a woodland lullaby that seemed to make the air itself grow heavier with calm. The fox's breathing slowed, matching the rhythm of her song as tension melted from his muscles like frost under morning sun. When the thorn finally released its grip on Finn's flesh, Molly applied a poultice of healing herbs that Sophie the Hedgehog had taught her to make comfrey and plantain leaves crushed to release their medicinal essence, mixed with a drop of Mrs. Tortoise's honey to seal in healing properties. The mixture smelled of earth and sweetness, of growth and renewal, of pain transformed into healing through knowledge passed down through generations of woodland healers who spoke the language of plants. "I've never needed help before," Finn confessed, his voice unusually soft, like autumn leaves falling on moss. "Perhaps that's why I never knew how good it could feel to receive it." His admission hung in the air between them like morning mist, beautiful in its vulnerability and impermanence. As Molly left his den, she felt the golden seed pulsing against her side, its warmth spreading through her fur like the satisfied glow that comes after helping someone in genuine need. For days, Molly continued her mission, finding small ways to bring joy and comfort to her fellow creatures. She helped Oliver the owl organize his extensive collection of unusual feathers, each telling the story of a different bird encountered during his nighttime flights. She taught the young rabbits how to find the sweetest clover hidden beneath ferns where dappled sunlight created patterns that looked like secret maps to treasure. With each act of kindness, the golden seed grew warmer and its glow brighter, until it emanated light that shone through Molly's pouch like a miniature sun. Sophie the Hedgehog had lost her favorite needle, an heirloom passed down through generations of her family, used to weave the most intricate patterns into leaf blankets and bark baskets. Tears welled in her small black eyes, catching the light like tiny perfect diamonds before rolling down her velvety snout. "It was the last gift from my grandmother," she explained, her voice breaking like a twig under sudden weight. "Without it, I cannot finish the special blankets for the chipmunk triplets born during last full moon." Without hesitation, Molly offered to help search, and together they retraced Sophie's steps through meadow and woodland, carefully examining each patch of moss and cluster of leaves while sharing stories of their grandmother's tales that connected them across differences of species and experience. The search became not just a quest for a lost item, but a journey of friendship, deepening like roots, finding rich soil, drawing strength and sustenance from shared vulnerability and trust. As sunset painted the sky in watercolor washes of pink and gold that reflected in puddles like portals to another world, they found the needle nestled in the heart of a dandelion gone to seed. The discovery brought such pure joy that Sophie embraced Molly, her quills somehow managing not to prick as happiness created magic between them. The golden seed in Molly's pouch grew so warm it almost burned, its light now visible even through the fabric, creating a halo around Molly that made her fur shimmer like it had captured starlight. That night, as Molly lay in her burrow, listening to the gentle percussion of raindrops on leaves above, nature's lullaby accompanied by the bass notes of distant thunder and the soprano trills of night insects. Singing between raindrops, she examined the golden seed. It had changed, developing tiny root-like tendrils that seemed to reach toward her with purpose and intention. The seed's glow had intensified to the point where it illuminated her entire burrow, casting shadows that danced on walls like friendly spirits, celebrating her journey of kindness. Something was changing in Whispering Meadows as well. Creatures who had long kept to themselves now stopped to chat by the brook, sharing news and offering assistance without being asked. Flowers seemed to bloom more vibrantly, their colors deeper and fragrances more intoxicating. Even the quality of light filtering through the canopy felt different, more golden, more alive, touching everything with a glow that seemed to reveal the inherent beauty in each leaf, stone, and creature. Molly wondered if others noticed this transformation, or if perhaps it was simply her own perception that had changed as her heart opened wider with each passing day. On the morning of the full moon, Molly awoke to find the golden seed vibrating with energy that made her fur stand on end. Not unpleasantly, but as if every hair was reaching toward something magnificent just beyond sight. A voice like wind through summer leaves whispered in her mind, "Today is the day of blossoming." Understanding settled over her like a familiar blanket as she gathered the now brightly glowing seed and set off toward the heart of the forest where she had first discovered it among the lunar flowers. The journey felt different this time, colors more vibrant, scents more intoxicating, sounds more harmonious, as if the entire forest was humming with anticipation that vibrated through soil and air alike. Animals emerged from homes to watch Molly pass, their eyes reflecting the golden light that now surrounded her like an aura of liquid sunshine. Without exchanging words, they fell into step behind her, forming a procession that grew with each clearing and copse she passed through. When they reached the special clearing with the lunar flowers, now fully open, and releasing a fragrance that seemed to make the air itself shimmer with possibilities, Molly carefully placed the golden seed in the center of their circle. All the woodland creatures gathered around, Oliver the owl with eyes wide and attentive despite the daylight. Mrs. Tortoise moving with purpose that belied her usual slowness. Sophie the hedgehog clutching her heirloom needle like a conductor's baton. Finn the fox with heeled paw stepping lightly on moss that cushioned his every movement. As if responding to an unheard signal, they all began to share stories of kindness they had experienced or witnessed, simple tales of compassion that might seem insignificant to outside ears but which had transformed their days and hearts like sunlight transforms darkness. The golden seed responded to each story by glowing more intensely, pulsing in rhythm with the words, until it seemed to be drinking in the joy and gratitude that flowed like honey from opened hearts, long closed by fear or hesitation. Mrs. Tortoise spoke of how Molly's garden help had not only tended her plants, but had planted seeds of friendship that now blossomed in her previously solitary life. Her voice, usually so measured and slow, now flowed with the cadence of a young stream dancing over smooth stones. Finn described how accepting help had opened his eyes to the beauty of interdependence, teaching him that strength could be found in vulnerability, just as the mighty oak draws support from the smallest fungi beneath its roots. Sophie shared how searching for her needle with Molly had threaded new joy through the fabric of her days, creating patterns of connection that made her artistry even more beautiful because it now came from a heart expanded by friendship. Oliver spoke of wisdom gained through watching Molly's journey, how one small creature with purpose could illuminate paths for others to follow, just as stars guide night travelers toward destinations that daylight might never reveal. As the final story faded into reverent silence, the golden seed began to transform, first growing roots that sank deep into the forest floor, connecting with every living thing through an intricate network hidden beneath the surface, where life's most important work often occurs unseen. Then a stem emerged, growing upward with impossible speed, yet with a grace that made the rapid movement seem like a dance choreographed over millennia. leaves unfurled next, shaped like hearts, and veined with gold that caught the light and scattered it in rainbow fragments across upturned faces of watching creatures. The plant continued its miraculous growth until it stood taller than Finn, yet remained delicate enough to sway with even the gentlest breath of wind, creating music through the movement of its leaves that sounded like distant chimes playing melodies from dreams forgotten, upon waking yet still influencing the day with their lingering impression. Finally, at the very top of the stem, a bud formed, tight at first, like a secret kept too long, then slowly opening petal by golden petal to reveal a flower of such exquisite beauty that several creatures gasped aloud, the sound rippling through the clearing like stones dropped in still water. The blossom was both golden and somehow every color at once, changing subtly as one looked at it from different angles or in different light, never the same twice, yet always recognizable as itself, much like joy itself. From the heart of the blossom rose a fragrance that defied description. It recalled summer meadows and winter fires, spring rain and autumn harvests, mother's love and friends' laughter, all blended into an essence that seemed to bypass the nose entirely and speak directly to the heart. As this scent spread throughout the clearing and beyond, something remarkable happened. Memories of kindness received and given began to surface in every creature's mind, not as faded recollections, but as vivid experiences being relived in the present moment. The flower continued to bloom throughout the day and into the night, its petals gradually transforming into thousands of tiny golden seeds that glowed with the same warmth as the original, but each with its own unique pattern of light, like stars with distinctive signatures. As the moon reached its zenith, bathing the clearing in silver light that complemented the gold of the flower, a gentle breeze arose as if summoned specifically for this moment of perfect balance between giving and receiving. This breeze, scented with joy and possibility, lifted the seeds from their parent blossom and carried them aloft in a spectacular spiral that rose above the trees, like a galaxy being born before the awe-struck eyes of the woodland creatures. The seeds traveled on air currents visible only through their movement, some staying within the forest while others journeyed far beyond, each destined for a place where its particular magic was needed most. One tiny seed, its glow particularly warm and inviting, floated down to land gently on Molly's paw where it rested against her chest. "For you," whispered the voice that was now familiar to her, "because the greatest joy comes from planting seeds of kindness, without knowing what magnificent blooms may eventually grow from them." The seed melted into her fur, becoming part of her essence, a warm glow centered in her heart that would never diminish, but would continue to grow stronger with each act of compassion. As the woodland creatures made their way back to their homes under a sky now painted with the iridescent trails left by traveling seeds, pathways of possibility, stretching from horizon to horizon, they found themselves moving with lightness, as if gravity had loosened its hold, or perhaps as if burdens carried too long had finally been set down. Sleep came easily that night, deep and restful, filled with dreams of golden flowers blooming in unexpected places and connections forming between hearts previously separated by fear or misunderstanding. Molly's life continued much as before. She still gathered berries in the morning dew, still helped Mrs. Tortoise with her garden, still shared stories by the brook with friends old and new, but now everything was infused with a quality of presence and appreciation that transformed ordinary moments into extraordinary treasures. She noticed how sunlight caught in dewdrops created perfect rainbows, how the rhythm of breathing synchronized between friends in quiet conversation, how the simple act of truly seeing another could create ripples of joy that spread outward in ever-widening circles. And if sometimes when kindness was shared with open hearts, observers glimpsed a golden glow surrounding the participants, or if occasionally someone reported finding a mysteriously warm golden seed nestled in moss or cradled in flower petals, well, that was just another wonder in a world already filled with everyday magic for those with eyes to see and hearts open enough to receive it. For Molly had discovered the greatest secret of all, that joy multiplies when shared, that kindness creates more kindness, and that the seeds we plant through simple acts of love blossom into gardens that nourish generations yet to come.